goal we had starting off was really to try and take close quarters combat to the next level.
The great part about it is you never know how it's going to play. You never know what's going to happen.
You almost forget you're playing the game because it just looks real.
Where is
Other games have done monsters that jump out of the closet at you, and what we've really tried to do is get under your skin.
Hush now, Mr. Moody. The time for talk is done.
It was amazing. I mean, I've never seen so unique a game.
It's not about up-in-your-face monsters. It's about really messing with the player's mind.
It wasn't until I started playing that I really got it.
It breaks so many of the standard conventions of what you would expect out of a first-person shooter.
It's going to be probably like A-list game.
This is the first-person shooter title that I've always hoped that my other titles would be.
I think it was the first time we really had a chance to kind of start from scratch. We weren't making a sequel to another game. We had been thinking about kind of the core concept of a game that had a lot of action in it and was just based on kind of the action movie experience. From the very beginning, we always talked about it as being like an action movie.
At its core, it's a very intense, visceral shooter with a little bit of a twist of the supernatural.
When we started off, we really worked with a lot of people to nail down the scope of what the game is going to be and who are we marketing to, because we really wanted to make a game that's going to appeal to more people.
You guys about done up there? Or are they just getting started?
This team has always been very focused on trying to tell a good story with the game. We try to not just make it about going around and shooting bad guys who are popping out of every corner. There is hopefully a compelling story, all the things that make movies exciting.
They really wanted to create this John Woo style action movie blended with elements of The Ring. So that was their focus from the beginning. They're avid consumers of all other types of media, so they know what's scary, they know what's fun.
The horror element actually suggested itself and seemed to fit right in with the story that we had come up with initially, which did have some kind of paranormal elements to it already.
The key thing is the blending of this over-the-top, just visceral action game with just great elements of horror that are tied in with suspense and just the whole eeriness of it. Getting that sort of feel inside an action game just hasn't been done yet.
Storytelling structure hasn't changed for thousands of years at least. In all recorded stories they have some key structural elements.
Craig's really good at adapting the story to fit within the capabilities of what we could do within the game.
Because it is a game and because the player is a participant, the more you can do real time with the player in control, the more immersive the experience becomes.
Monolith has taken a lot of care to not to be in your face with the the kind of scary moments or the gore even. There's a lot of times it's what you don't see is scarier than what you do see. You're genuinely creeped out.
When you're testing something specific, you can get very focused on it. And there was a particular scene where Alma, the little girl, I had placed her, I had her walking across a doorway, and I had sort of forgotten that she was there. So I'm walking around looking at the lighting and the scene, and I turn around and catch her out of the corner of my eye, and I just completely freaked out because I'd forgotten she was there, and she's just standing there kind of looking at me. It's chilling.
In our bathrooms, they have the round ceiling lights, and one of them was burnt out, and the other one was flickering.
There's been a number of times where I've walked into the bathroom and turned on the light, and in the mirror, seen a dark shadow behind the door as I closed it.
One day, John Mulkey came running into my office, and he's like, there's like this shadow in the bathroom, and it's freaking me out. I can't stand it.
I swear it happened. No one believes me.
And it was weird because I went in there and I was kind of laughing to myself, going, yeah, whatever. And I walked in there, I'm like, God, this is a freaky room. This is scary.
We don't use that bathroom as much anymore.
One of the biggest challenges we had was overcoming the technological hurdle. This technology is getting so much more realistic and detailed that the time and the resources it takes to actually finish and complete a world is increased, fivefold, but the resources have maybe only increased, by 30%. So we're having to become much more creative in using tools to allow us to create that kind of content.
We've spent a lot of time just trying to make the combat sequences as intense as we possibly can. So to do that, we're utilizing all the strengths of the technology. dynamic lights, hanging lights in a room that move as soon as, you start shooting and stray bullets hit them, objects that'll fly around with the physics.
You're playing the game, and at first you look at it and go, wow, is this a screenshot? But it's not. You're in the game.
You shoot a gun into pretty much anything, a lot of pieces are going to fly out. And it sounds kind of like a simple concept, but it's hard for games to pull that off and make it look realistic. So on the technology side, we knew if we wanted to do that, we were going to have thousands of these particles. We wanted them to move realistically, so it feels like you're in a firefight. It feels like, someone's shooting at you, there's bullets whizzing by, there's chunks of the wall being blown out, there's smoke and, shell casings flying and just, chaos, just utter chaos. I believe that being able to see your body in a first-person game is the future, and I think that we're one of the first that have really pulled it off in a way that's big.
So now you look down and you see your feet, you see your arms, and you feel like you are in the world. We wanted to even make it more interactive with the hand-to-hand combat. So you can do these scissor kicks and slide kicks and roundhouse kicks, and you feel like you're a badass.
We'd played games where you were part of a Special Forces team, but the enemies are always just standing around. We wanted to play against a Special Forces team, so the AI just had to be phenomenal.
The evolution of AI in gaming has been one driven by the demand of the players. These days, people are looking for a deeper experience. They want a greater challenge and deeper immersion.
Pretty much the whole gameplay revolves around the AI. You're interacting with the AI. So how the AI interacts with you is how much you can get immersed in the game.
We place a lot of hints in the environment that the AI can use. So when you come into a situation where you've got bad guys rushing into a space, what they do is really based upon your actions. If you decide to take cover and head off in one direction, the AI will have a number of available options presented to them because of what you do.
The cool thing about the AI in F.E.A.R is it's not scripted, it's part of their behavior. So they'll walk out to an area and they'll evaluate what they want to do to get at the player, to get away from the player. So each time they do that, it could be different.
We have an assassin character who can cloak and cling to walls and jump over railings and comes right up on top of you.
We've also added the squad behavior for the AI. So now when you come into an area, you have to fight the whole squad. It's not just each individual AI by themselves. They can communicate with each other. You'll hear them talk about he's behind the wall or he's trying to flank us.
It comes back to that focus on the close quarters combat. The experience of being in a space with a squad of enemies and fighting them and defeating them is really, really satisfying. And that's our greatest achievement on this game.